What I'll do is when the next individual arrives, I'll finish the intro and we can hand it off, and I'll hand over this seat to that individual. So hello everybody, good afternoon. Today is March 28th and it is a little after 3:45, and we are starting today our first Junior Sustainability Board meeting. I'd like to thank all the students for being involved and for being here, and as well as everybody else out there as well. My name is Nick Sanzone. I'm the Environmental Programs Coordinator for the city, and I'll be your staff liaison connection for this board. And the idea is that this board, the Junior Sustainability Board, will be tasked with a number of activities, first of which is creating a better name for the Junior Sustainability Board. So what we're going to do today is everybody has with them a number of handouts, just make sure everyone has it on the board side, that is. So you have your application to serve on the board. Go ahead and fill those out. You can fill those out with your handy-dandy recycled pencils distributed by the Sustainability Board as part of a grant with the NEP. You can use your notepads for anything extra that you need, and your calendars to make sure that everybody's on time and that our schedules line up. There's one additional piece of information that all the students have today, and that's the Junior Sustainability Board overview and the outline of what the board is going to be, just in case there's any questions about that. And in case anybody asks you about it at school, what you're doing, you can refer to that as a reference material. So one of the first things we're going to do today is talk about agenda items and how that happens for you guys. You are within your own right to create agenda items as a board. The city doesn't hold you accountable for the same Sunshine State standards that the city is required by law to adhere to. And basically what that means is if you were to discuss any of these ideas that you have during a board meeting, you wouldn't then be allowed to discuss them with other board members outside of a board meeting. Being that you're students and learning how this goes, we figured that wasn't really necessary for this board, so you get to operate outside of these Sunshine State standards. So if there's an idea that comes up during a board meeting, like today, we're going to create some agenda items to be talked about next meeting. The individual who decides to be the board clerk will be the one who will be taking notes and making sure that all of this information is available next time. They'll create what's called the meeting minutes. And those minutes will be made available for all of you to review in case there's anything that you might have, not taken down on your handy notepad. The board clerk will then report to the staff liaison what needs to be accomplished. The staff liaison will go out and do that work and then report back to the board at the next meeting. The board chair will sit here and vice chair will sit either to the left or the right. And whenever the board chair is not around, if they can't make it, then the board chair, vice chair will step up to the board chair position. And I think that, James, we discussed that the senior students might most likely be inclined to take on those roles as chair and vice chair if they so choose.
Yes, sir.
So if everybody wants to vote that way, a little bit differently from normal boards with the city, you will be voting for your own positions. So they'll do a majority vote. And the first position I would recommend that you select is the board clerk position. And the reason for that is that that person will be the one that calls those votes to order. So they'll call the vote to order for board chair, and then everybody will sound off, and they'll say aye, so-and-so, so-and-so down the line. So if one of you would like to do that, that's great. But what we'll do is we'll have that happen in just a minute once everyone finishes filling out their applications, and then we'll hand them to me, and I'll help you get started with that by helping pick the first one. And I'll act as the board chair in the interim until that's accomplished. So once that's all accomplished and we have our chair and our vice chair and our staff liaisons and our board clerk, you're going to create these agenda items, and I have a template for that which we can pass out and you can take a look at. And the idea is really simple. You just create a template of what that agenda is that you want to accomplish during the meeting, and then you'll bring that forward. There'll be a portion of the meeting where the meeting is called to order. We'll then stand for the pledge. And I guess we should do that here today. Kind of forgot that part. And then once the pledge is completed, there'll be a moment of silence.
Silence for
silence first, and then the pledge. Excuse my dyslexia. First, a moment of silence, and then the pledge, and then we'll have comment from the community. So if you have any students that want to join in and give comments to you, you do that first. Once the comments are made, then you'll go about any scheduled agenda items. So those agenda items are the things that you'll want to talk about and then have on tabled for the next time. So if there's an agenda item like projects that we want to accomplish, and you can't decide on which project you want to accomplish, well, then you'll table that till the next meeting. Once that's accomplished, then you can move on to non-agenda items. And then, once you're finished with non-agenda items, if there's any other business, go ahead and deal with it. If not, you close to the next meeting. You'll have the clerk's help on keeping that in order, and that's kind of the basic outline of how the boards typically run. I hope that was kind of brief and not too overwhelming for you guys, and I'll try to keep it as simple a version as possible. But if you'll join me today, we'll go ahead and we'll take a moment of silence, and then we'll continue with the pledge. And now the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, please be seated. Okay. So first agenda item is going to be deciding on who's the clerk. So if everyone wants to pass their completed forms forward. Hopefully everyone's finished deciding on which position they want. Thank you very much. Okay. And if you don't, that's okay. Thank you very much. I would like to point out that we do have a professional in the audience. Councilwoman Mindy Gibson is out there. So Mindy, if there's anything that you would like to do to help keep me straight. Okay. No, that's good. Yeah. Yeah, so that's your number one choice. That's your two choice. That's your third choice. Yeah. Yeah. Perfect. Okay. And then what you guys will do is during the year, if anybody else wants to be on the board, you just go ahead and hand them this information. I'll go ahead and provide it to James so that he can have a printout ready. And then what they'll do is on the bottom of it, they can submit it either to whoever you decide to be the clerk, or they can submit it directly to the school. In this case, we'll do the assistant principal, and then he can give it to you. So that's kind of, I think, the best way to go about doing that. But you can change some of these things as you go on. You can make amendments and change the way that things operate. This is your board. So we got a couple of them. Let's see. Okay. Okay. I can hand them back to the bottom stuff if you guys just want to fill out the clerk portion. No, just the clerk or the staff or the board member positions for right now. That's the most important part for this portion of it. You can fill out the essay portion later. Okay, wonderful. Okay, great. Okay, so it looks like Faith and Sophia, Maisie, Taylor are all interested, or somewhat interested, in the board clerk position. And it looks like, did you want this as your number one choice? Is that what that was, or is that just? Okay. Because you can't be both vice chair.
No, I know.
Okay. So what we'll do is we'll take a quick vote on who would like to be the clerk, board clerk? So all in favor of Faith Madison as board clerk, say aye. Just raise your hand. You can just raise your hand. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 for Faith, okay. And how many do we have for Sophia? 1.
Wait, do we vote twice?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
2. 2.5. Call. Okay. And 4. And for Maisie, board clerk, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Well, Maisie and Faith have tied. And as a tiebreaker, all in favor of Maisie? Okay, 3. All in favor of Faith? 4. Faith will be the clerk. All right. So Faith is now the board clerk, and if there was a board clerk, they'd be taking that down in the minutes. So I'll be taking that down in the minutes, and I have recorded how the vote went, so that's no problem there. And then the staff liaison position, so we could take Faith out of the running. We'll say that, let's see, Sophia, everybody except for, okay, so all in favor of Taylor for staff liaison. 2, 3, 4, 5, okay. And all in favor of Maisie for staff liaison. One, okay, there you go. No problem. And Sophia for staff liaison. 1, 2, 3, 4, okay. And Megan for staff liaison. 1, 2, okay. All right, well, it looks like that's one round for Taylor. Taylor's going to go and be staff liaison. So that is official there. The last is, now that we have a staff liaison and a clerk, we'll do a vote for board chair, and you will do that without me as your first. Well, actually, do I have to be there for that? Yeah, I'll do it with you. Okay. So all in favor of board chair? Does anybody want to? So at this point, it's not like the other ones. This one, you want to nominate somebody else. So if somebody would like to make a motion, so the way this works is you make a motion, and you motion for another individual to take on that position. And then someone would have to second that motion. Once that motion's been seconded, then you would like to make a motion?
Oh, no, I was just
Okay.
ask a question. Can a person be the chair and be something else?
No.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, no.
If you'd like to change later on, you guys can make changes. This is just to kind of get everybody started. So if anybody would like to make a motion, so that somebody would like, okay?
Easy.
All right,
I
so,
second it.
all right, go ahead and make it officially, so we could like say that it's officially on the record. You would say that I would like to motion that,
I would like to motion that Maisie be the chairman.
all right?
I second the nomination.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. And when the clerk is taking this all down, they're going to take the name of the individual that made the motion, and then the name of the individual that made the second. And then once that's accomplished, then they'll roll call down a list to see who's in favor. Does that make sense? And that's kind of the way that you're going to do everything that you make a decision on, is in that same fashion. So if you were taking notes, this would be the thing to take down on the process of how that works. Okay, so we have a first and a second, and now I'll call the roll in lieu of the clerk for today. All in favor of Maisie as chairperson? Owen? You say aye?
Aye.
Okay, aye. Okay. Taylor?
Aye.
Aye. Sophia?
Aye.
Aye. Megan?
Aye.
There we go. Maisie can't vote for herself. Faith?
Aye.
All right. By unanimous decision, Maisie for chair. Congratulations. We'll do the same for vice chair. So if anybody would like to make a motion for a position of vice chair. I believe that Maisie, Faith, and,
You never said my name.
did I not? Where's yours?
Okay. The bottom.
Oh, Kira, sorry. How would you like to vote?
Aye.
Aye, okay, there you go. The ayes have it, very nice. Sorry about that, they must have stuck together. Okay, So Taylor, Faith, and Maisie all have positions. Those that are available as vice chair are Megan, Sophia, Owen, and Kira. See anyone? If anyone would like to make a motion for vice chair? Chair, you can't do that. It's okay, it's okay, that's why you're here, that's why you're here. Get things done, this is one of the first things you'll get done.
Can we still nominate Cara, even though she's not here?
Yeah, you can. That's one of the joys of when people don't show up. You get to make them responsible for things that they, So that's kind of a nice lesson for her to learn. Go ahead and feel free to do that.
I nominate Cara.
Okay.
I second that.
Nomination by, I'm trying to get everyone's names right,
Good.
and Kira. Nomination by Kira, seconded by, flip that, reverse it. Nomination by Faith, seconded by Kira. All in favor, her name's Cara?
Kara.
Kara? All in favor of Kara for vice chair? We'll roll down the roll call. First is going to be Megan?
Nay.
Nay, okay, you can do that, yeah. Sophia?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Owen?
Aye.
Aye. Kira?
Aye.
Okay. Taylor?
Aye.
Faith?
Aye.
And Maisie?
Aye.
All right, the ayes have it. So there we go. So now we have, is there anyone? Cara?
Kira.
Kira. No, her name.
Oh, Kara.
Kara, sorry about that. As vice chair. So now that we have all of our positions in place, now you're able to create agenda items and bring them to each other. So what we would normally do is open it to public comment. So at this point, we'd like to open it to public comment. If anybody would like to make a public comment from Delora, perhaps, if someone would feel like they would want to. There you go. Good news.
All right.
So when they step up to the podium, you ask them their name and where they're from.
Mindy Gibson, 110 Sherwood Avenue, council member. So just thank you guys so much for stepping up and doing this. This is an amazing thing you guys are doing. Don't be scared to say anything. I know this is the processes, you'll get better and you'll get used to them and it'll become normal, but come with ideas, throw stuff against the wall, see what sticks. There's no bad ideas, there's no bad decisions, yeses or no, vote for what you want to vote for, vote no for what you don't want to vote for, and don't be scared and just have fun. This is a really cool thing you guys are doing, so congratulations, and I'm always around if you ever need me. My business cards are in there, you can email me or call, whatever you want, so thank you.
Thank you, Mindy. As chair, you could say, are there any other public comments?
Are there any other public comments?
Okay, then you say, hearing none,
Hearing none,
we will close this agenda item
we will close this agenda item.
and move on to agenda item number, whatever it may be at this point. So this will be agenda item number 2. which will be board report. So if each one of the board members at this point wants to go ahead and, since this is the first meeting, it won't go exactly the same, but as the first meeting, you would go down the line and just kind of talk about what you've been working on, what you want to do, what your goals are, and those kinds of things. So if you don't mind today, we'll just do a brief version of that. And basically what we kind of talked about on the application is the same thing of like, you know, the reason why you want to serve on the board, I think might be a good starter point for today. So if we just want to start at the end, do state your name, and then we'll do it. So just do it into the microphone for practice.
Okay. My name is Taylor Crew, and I think I'd be like good on the board because I'm good at making decisions and I come up with good ideas.
Hi, I'm Owen Downs, and I think I would be good on this board because I have a little bit of experience in leadership and environmental academics.
My name is Kira Garvey, and I think I would be good on the board because I usually work well with others, and I'm pretty responsible.
My name is Maisie Gurton, and I think I do well on this board because I have good leadership qualities and I like staying involved in the community.
I'm Sophia Crangel, and I think I'd be good on the board because I like to work with other people and be a leader, and I care about helping the community a lot.
I'm Megan Romsberg, and I think I would be good on the board because I don't procrastinate and I love Satellite Beach.
My name is Faith Matson, and I think I do well on the board because I've taken on many leadership responsibilities and roles throughout the community, and I think it'd be cool to see us make projects throughout the community that sustain and we can come back and look at in the future.
All right, thank you all. Very nicely done. Taylor, can you just talk to us about a project that you might want to do? Whether it's, you know, recycling, like no straws at school, or anything that you want to do as a project that you're interested in. And then we can kind of create agenda items based on what you guys want to do.
Like maybe not creating as much like waste,
Okay?
like just changing like certain like materials and products.
That's perfect. Great. Owen?
After school, having more recyclable materials and enforcing recycling all of your materials more.
I really liked the idea of the refillable water bottle stations at school.
I feel like we should do more recycling opportunities, and I also like the refillable water stations.
Okay.
I think that if we have more recycling, that we should enforce the rules more to make sure that kids are actually recycling and not just throwing it in the trash.
I want to try and get rid of plastic at school and like other places where it's free.
I agree with Kira and the refillable water bottle stations because we buy a lot of water bottles at school and they don't even get recycled. I think a greenhouse would also be cool, Mr. Raymond.
There it is. Perfect. All right. Now, Faith, you're going to be secretary?
Yeah.
Is that correct? Okay, so you will be sitting on the far side by the computer. You'll be taking notes on Microsoft Word. You'll create a small sheet based on that, and that'll be a way to keep record of everything. You'll have access to the videos if you need to go back and look at anything as well. But I think we just created our first agenda item, everybody. I think the water bottles and the shade house, the greenhouse, look like those are your first two agenda items for projects to create. So at this point, as the chair, you ask for a motion to create agenda items for the next meeting. And this is the point at which we would do that.
Okay.
So then, based on the conversations today, do I hear a motion to create a new agenda item?
Okay, do I hear a motion to create a new agenda item?
Can I just say that
Yep.
I'd like to motion greenhouse.
Yes, you say, I'd like to create an agenda, I'd like to make a motion to create an agenda item to be tabled till next meeting to create a greenhouse at Delora Junior High. Like, think about it as formal as possible.
Okay. I'd like to create an agenda item to have a greenhouse at Delora Junior High School. Middle school.
Thank you, Alan. Perfect. And then we say, do I hear a second?
Do I hear a second?
I second.
A second.
You'd say, motion by Owen, seconded by Faith.
Motion by Owen, seconded by Sophia.
Okay. And then as a secretary, as the board clerk, you would then say that motion by, seconded by, and then call roll. So,
Oh.
do you know everyone can call roll?
Yeah.
Okay.
Motion by Owen, seconded by Sophia. Taylor.
Sure.
Kira.
Aye.
Maisie.
Aye.
Sophia.
Aye.
Megan.
Aye.
Oh,
You
aye.
need to vote two in this case.
Aye.
All right, so then the ayes have it. Agenda item will be created for the next meeting. And then in that time, the staff liaison individual, who we decided was Taylor? Is that right? Yeah?
What?
You're the staff liaison? That's your position? Okay, so as the board staff liaison, you will work with me.
Okay.
And you'll come, and we'll talk over, what the project is, how best to go about implementing it, and then you'll come back to the board at the next meeting and say, over discussion, this is how we should probably go about doing this particular project, this is the budget that we want to create, and then you would submit that to the board, and they would vote that up or down, whether or not they think that that's a legitimate budget, or they could revise that, and they could talk about the project and kind of, shape it a little bit more towards their liking.
Okay.
But that's the kind of thing we get to work on.
Okay.
So we'll set up some time when you get to come in, and we'll talk about that. And then when she comes back and talks to everybody about whatever that project is, feel free to give her notes, give me notes, whatever you think is possible. And then once that's all accomplished, we then will take that to the school and present that to the school. And in a way that, we'll invite them to come out to the meeting and say, this is being presented, and then you can present that to them as a fully conceived idea with the budget, the scope, a time frame, all that fun stuff. And I think that's how that's going to work as far as how you're going to create projects. Does that sound good? In this case, we'll kind of break tradition a little bit. We'll engage with,
I was just thinking, so they'll vote on it and then pass it, I think, to council, because their budget is through us, right?
Okay, yeah, so then you'll bring it
And
to
then
council.
we're gonna vote on whether or not you're gonna actually be able to
That's how we'll do it, yeah.
spend the money, I think.
Yeah,
I think
that
that's
sounds a
how-
lot
This is
better.
a whole new ballgame. That's how it normally works, because you're spending money, I think we have to approve the spending.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good.
The regular board does it.
Yeah. All right, so you'll bring it to the council meeting, and what we'll do is I'll put it on the agenda item for regular council meetings. And then it would be good if the board chair and staff liaison, as well as anyone else that wants to be there, comes to the meeting for that specific meeting. So those meetings are the first and the third Wednesday of every month at 7 p.m.
We'll make sure it's first, the first thing, maybe before public comment.
Well, yeah, we'll get it up on the list so that you don't have to wait very long for public comment. Sometimes public comment lasts longer than other times. So I think that's the best way to do it. That sounds good. Thank you, Mindy. So happy you're here.
For recording, but I think.
Right, I do believe that was the plan, was that it would go that direction. And of course, keep the school involved with the projects that you want to do. And, if there's anything that they think is not possible, that would be the staff liaison's job, is to take what we talk about, bring it to the school and see if it's feasible, and then we can kind of work together to shape that idea. So if it's, in this case, a greenhouse, what do we have to do? Do we have to talk with Brevard County Public Schools about using the land? Do we have to talk about construction period of time? Is that location being used for anything else? How are we going to irrigate it? All that fun stuff. And we'll talk about that in more detail, because this is now an agenda item. So are there any other agenda items? So go ahead and ask if there's anything else.
Are there any other agenda items?
I would like to add the refillable water stations to the agenda.
So go ahead and make a motion.
Okay, I motion that.
Be as formal as possible.
Oh, okay. I, Megan Romsberg, the motion to add refillable water bottle stations to Delaware.
Perfect. Perfect. All right. Motion by Megan. So you got this, Faith? You're taking all this down? Perfect. Second by Kira. And then, Faith, if you want to call a roll. It's my phone, don't worry about it.
Motion by Megan, seconded by Kira. Taylor?
I motion for refillable water bottles at Delaware. Aye.
Okay.
Owen?
Aye.
Kira? Aye. Maisie?
Aye.
Sophia?
Aye.
And then,
She doesn't get to vote on her motion.
Aye.
There we go. Unanimous decision. Second agenda item created. I think that's about enough agenda items to create for you guys for today. I think that's a good start. So you have that all written down. It's recorded. We'll get to continue this a little bit more, and I'll join next time, but I'll sit over there. And what we'll do is we'll have you sit in the captain's chair over here, and you'll get to start the meeting. We'll start with the moment of silence, the pledge, call to order, and then have the public comment, and then staff report. Staff report will then be followed by council comments, and then you'll have any new updates from council members, from board members, rather, sorry. And then, once board members finish with their items, then we'll call the meeting adjourned. So if that's it, I think that that's enough for today. Is everybody satisfied? Any more questions, anything that you want to know or anything?
I just had a question. Do I just type? Do I make comments or anything?
Oh, no, you're a board member. You
Oh,
get to.
okay.
But because of the way the board is, this particular board is a little different than our board. So you get to be involved as well. Eventually, if you want to get somebody else on as just for that position, I think that'd be a great thing. You can make a motion to have that happen. But what do you think? Do you think that's?
I mean, it might be good to have somebody that's a non-voting, maybe a member from Delora, that
Mhm.
maybe what's the office skills and that type, to take the notes. That way you can be more focused on the board itself, because it's going to be kind of hard, would you say, like, what do you think?
I don't take detailed notes during the meeting,
Right.
because I can review them later, but it might be a little different.
I just wasn't sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
fluid.
Like I said.
We'll get everyone training to be your position,
Mhm.
so don't worry about that.
Okay,
But
I just
yeah,
wasn't sure.
eventually, if you want to, I think it's a fine idea. Nothing wrong with that. And if you want to increase the number of staff liaisons, or if you want to increase the number, of any other thing, you just can vote on that. That's something that you can look into. But typically, I think this is pretty much how it's going to run. So thank you everybody for being here today. Our chair, would you like to close the meeting and bang the gavel and say meeting adjourned?
Okay. Meeting adjourned.
Perfect. Nice job, everybody. Thank you. This is all yours. Get your people back.